So I'm Laura Sycamore. I'm the Learning Systems Assistant at St Michael's Grammar School, and I'll be joined at the end by Sam Rotzek, who is the LMS Administrator at Melbourne Girls, and she's going to show you how they're using sports fixtures a little bit differently to us. So we hope this will provide you with some suggestions of how you can use it for your system, and we'll give you opportunity at the end to ask us any questions. So at St Michael's, when we were considering what we needed for sports fixtures, we decided we wanted our users to have a quick and direct link to the current week's training and match information, individualised for students and for parents. We wanted our users to receive a notification when the match details change, and we wanted to set up processes to make the upload of data easy and not too time consuming. So to achieve this in the Schoolbox module for sports fixtures, we had to adapt some of the terminology to suit our school. We populated the CSV templates provided by Schoolbox so that the data could be bulk uploaded. And we also made some rules in our CSV files that we turn into Excel documents just to make it easier to manage and cleaner for printing. If you decide you would like to bulk upload the sports fixtures, I would highly recommend testing it out on your development server so that you can be confident every time you launch the data and upload it to your live site that the information will be uploaded correctly. So at the moment we have successfully rolled out weekly sport using the Fixtures module, but our next challenge is to extend the Fixtures module to include other co-curricular activities such as debating, sailing, school musical rehearsals and so on. We'll also, at the end of this presentation, just highlight a few of the suggestions we have of ways that we could improve the module, and I'll go into that a bit further. So to give you a bit of a background of sports fixtures at St Michael's, I searched and I found this photo of the sports notice board from back in 2011, and it's basically what students would rely on to know when and where they were playing sport for that week. Since 2013 and our adopting Schoolbox, we've been using the Excel template we've had for our weekly sport. We've been saving it as a PDF, and we've been uploading it to our sports page on Schoolbox so that parents and students could access it. The pros of our previous system was that we had a printable copy that we could give the bus company. We also had a copy that we could give our contracted sports coaches who didn't have access to Schoolbox. And students and parents could see the entire week in fixtures, regardless of which team they were playing for. However, the cons was there was far too much information. You would have to shift through multiple pages to find the relevant details to you. And we didn't have team lists, so there was no information to remind parents which team their child was playing for. So to give you a bit of an example, to find out when the Year 8 boys tennis would return from their sports match on a Thursday, the parent or student would need to go to the sports page on our system, SCOL. They would need to click on the icon for weekly sport. Then they would have to download the current week's PDF. And here's an example. Switch past Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. And when they got to Thursday, they'd have to find the right team. And then they'd have to scroll across and find the finish time. So after all of that, it felt like a bit of a marathon. So when we were considering a new process for sports fixtures, we had to keep in mind some requirements for a successful transition. We still needed a printable version for a bus company and external coaches. And our sports admin really preferred to bulk upload the data rather than to create each match fixture manually in a system. It had the added benefit also of we could launch all the information about the next week's sports fixtures, the entire school community at the same time. We wanted the students and parents to receive notifications when match details change, and to see only the fixtures relevant to them. So Schoolbox module is already set up to do this for us. So this is how St Michael's sports fixtures look on our dashboard for a parent. So in the middle there you can see fixtures, and so the name of the team is the hyperlink to get to the match details page. So here's an example of match details. This is Wednesday's senior first tennis match against Loyola College. We have the start time, which for us is the time that the students meet the coach. It's not the time the match starts. We have the venue name and we have the weather prediction for that day. In the middle of the screen, we have the GPS coordinates of the venue, so that parents, if parents would like to come and view the match, they're welcome to come and they can get directions directly from Google. And then below that, we've got the detailed itinerary for the match. So we've got the time that the students need to meet the coach, which bus they need to board, the start time of the match, the end time, and the time they can be expected back at school. And on the right, we have the team list. So, when we're investigating the setup of sports fixtures, some of the fields are really straightforward, but you can adapt the setup to suit your school. And so when we were looking at terminology, we decided we only really had two sports at St Michael's, summer sport and winter sport. And within each sport, we have different divisions, and these align with our year levels. So we've got Years 5 and 6 sport, Year 7, Year 8 teams, Year 9 teams, and senior teams. It means that we can bulk upload all our students from a year level into that division, and then we can sort them into different teams and we can see who hasn't been allocated to a team. So here is an example, is a sports lobby for Year 9. I've collapsed the team list so that you can see we've got 8 teams in total. We've got 4 boys teams and 4 girls teams. In a senior sport, we've got a few mixed teams as well. So to add an unallocated player to a team, you can either click and drag them across from the left-hand side to the right, or you can click on the 3 actions dots and choose a team from the drop-down menu. As a side note, we would really like the lobby to be sorted alphabetically. It's not at the moment. Feedback. And here is a quick expanded view of the team list. So the students on the left haven't been assigned. It might be because they've got a sports exemption or they're on leave at the moment. And on the right is the full list for Year 9 boys football. And so the sports lobby is where you decide which students belong in which team. Okay. We really wanted to use the CSV bulk upload option in sports fixtures so that we get it ready throughout the week, have a printable version, and then we could upload it when we're ready. We found that the CSV template provided by Schoolbox had too many columns, and if someone misspells a team name or the venue, the fixture wouldn't connect to those things in the system, and it could cause headaches. So to make bulk uploading workable for us, we changed the CSV file into an Excel document with multiple tabs, and from there we could set up a lot of rules to make it suit us. So here's our template. If you can see, I'm not sure you can, below we've got multiple tabs, so we've actually got a tab for each day of the week. And we've also got a tab of all our teams and all our venues. And so what you can do when you're creating your CSV file, or your template for that day, is you can source from the other tab for venues, and you can source for the other tab for your team names and the teams you play against. It also has the added benefit if you type the name in incorrectly or the time in the incorrect format, the cell will reject it and let the user know. I've also hidden some of the columns that we don't need to use, and I've pre-filled ones that are the same every single week. And I've added a couple of extra columns that our bus company needs, such as the address and the time the coaches sign in. We need to remove those columns before we can upload it to Schoolbox. This is in case you find my speech really boring. Here's our dates tab. We decided there were way too many dates columns on the CSV template, and there was too many options to get the day wrong. So with this rule, all the date cells are sourced from this one page, so all the dates for Tuesday match that date, and that makes it a lot easier for our sports admin to make sure they're putting up the right data. So here is our home teams, away teams tab. So this populates in the drop-down menu when selecting which team is playing. I've also added above our teams the schools that we play against, so that comes up as an option for the away team or the home team. We also have a team called Team Training, and this is who our teams play against when there's just a training session. So here's our list of venues. I've compiled this from the venues we've played at in 2016. Occasionally we might need to add a new venue, but not very often. The yellow venues at the top are the ones that are on campus. The green are off-campus venues that we use for home games, and the blue venues are away venues that belong to other schools. Because we've got so many, I think we've got about 89 in total, instead of using that drop-down menu that would be a mile long, I've numbered them all, and then we use a lookup table in the other sheet. So to add the Ross Gregory Oval in Albert Park, you just need to add the number 23, and it will source all that information from this tab. Okay, so this is an example of our template populated. So it's now populated with all the times and venues where the students are playing. And here looks like in the print view. So this is what we print and give to our bus company and to our external coaches. And once uploaded, this is what it looks like for our students. They have sports fixtures a bit further down their dashboard under due work. So it's here. And again, the team name is the hyperlink to the match details. And then I was going to hand over to Sam to show you how they're using it at Melbourne Girls.
Thank you, Laura. And I want to take the opportunity to really thank St. Michael's for leading the way in the sports fixtures. It was them working really closely with Schoolbox that helped bring this module to us now. They've spent a lot of time with them to get to where we are, and there's a few more developments on the way. So we hope from after this session you guys walk away with an interest in starting sports fixtures using the module in your school and helping us build it so it can be a more powerful and useful tool for all of us. So at Melbourne Girls Grammar, we have sports, and sports is a big role for us, but it's not as big as St. Michael's. They have an amazing and massive sports program. So we took a different look or a different perspective in setting up sports fixtures for us. We started really small. We did a small scale, and then we're going to start moving up and growing bigger as every term and every year goes with our sports and PPH, which is our Physical Performance Health Department. So we took a small section and we looked strictly at the GSV. In Victoria, that's called Girls Sports Victoria, and we looked at those small sections of sporting events that happen throughout each term. So our sports fixture model was using that type of GSV program that's already set up, we followed that model to build our sports fixtures. So starting at sports, we didn't do winter sports, we didn't do summer sports, we didn't break it down that way. We broke it down by per sport. We know there's a badminton team, we know there's a volleyball team. And we kept that very simple for us because our girls know, not by term, they know by sport. And that relates to them. Then we looked at divisions. GSV's done that for us already. They say your divisions are junior, intermediate, or senior. So that came simple for us in creating our divisions within sports fixtures. We said, all right, these are the setup, and this is the girls know if you're in this year level, you're a junior. If you're in that year level, you're a senior sports competitor. So that, for us, worked really well in helping us set up the backbone for sports fixtures, because that's important. If you have the backbone, then the data just easily fits into the module. Teams. So with GSV, depending on the girls and their interest in that sport for that term, your teams can vary. You might have girls really interested in netball for us in our school, so we can have oodles of teams across all the divisions. So we can have 10 girls we can have 10 teams in junior. We can have 6 teams in senior. But the great thing with GSV is most of them all play at the same venue at the same time. So we all go to one school, and the courts are all sorted out with the juniors. So, team 1 isn't at this court at that venue. Team 2 is at this court in that venue. But it's all the same place. So instead of us having to create 10 groups of teams for that one sport, we said, you know what, we're simplifying it. All the girls in the junior netball team are in one team. And when they go to the venue at the day, they then learn which team they can then allocate to. Instead of having to put that all into sports fixtures, build that into there, we decided to take that step away from the module. We want the module to report where they're going. The module is meant to help direct them and guide them on getting to the destination. And then when they get to that destination, depending on how practice is going and how they've been practicing to lead up to that sporting event, that day the coach would then say, okay, you're allocated team 1, 2, and 3. As there's improvements adding to to the sports fixtures module, we will look at using teams and building all those teams into here, hoping connecting through either a synergetic class code that you built, because we use synergetic, using a code that builds into synergetic to feed directly into teams. But we thought we'd take out that admin process and leave that to the coaches on the day. Then the fixtures, all matches for all term. They have so many sporting teams, they do it as the week comes, and they report to the families or those girls or boys in the event coming up for them in that upcoming week. Because with GSV, our schedule is set up from the beginning of the term. The girls know all the dates, all the venues, and all the times. So we said, we're just putting that all up there. So we put from the beginning of that term till the end of the term all the information about that sporting event and all the fixtures for them. It has its pros and cons, but for us, that works really well for us in the school. So the key to sports fixtures, as Laura has taught me, she's guided me, she is my guide, she's my guidance in all this, is your spreadsheet. You master your spreadsheet, modules will just plug in and it will work beautifully for you. You have to figure out, like I said, that backbone to understand how to set up your spreadsheet. Like I mentioned, we've got our sports, which guides us according to our divisions, and from those divisions, you then enter your match names, depending on, the matches are told for us already with GSV, so we knew which was round 1, 2, and 3. We then just had to put in, and this is the strict admin part, which is given to us already. You just put your dates in, your times, your venues, who's the away team, who's the home team, and then the itinerary down here on this part is you get to determine that. Do you want to mention if there's a bus pickup, what time the kids are departing class, what time the bus returns? For us, we kept it very simple. If it's home, they only need to know when they're departing class because they know where they need to be right after that. So they need to be at our home venue for this or wherever the home venue is. But then we put down an itinerary if it's off-site. So we then said, okay, you need to depart class by this time, but then the bus departs at that time and the bus returns at that time. So we simplified this process, keeping it very general for the end user, which is the parent and the student. And then the last thing is how it looks. So like I mentioned, because we put all our fixtures in from the beginning of the term, it is a long list. And so at this stage, we haven't decided to put this on the dashboard like St. Michael's has on that home page when parents or students come in. It takes a lot of real estate, And real estate's so vital in your Schoolbox pages. So at this point, we're putting it on the actual sports page for the students. So parents have access to the page, students have access to this page, and students automatically have a link to this page because they're members of this page. They can come to this page and view the sports fixtures for the whole term. And there is a good little feature within the module called hiding historical data. So we turn that on, so as soon as the actual event is done, so round 1, when it's completed on that date, it then hides it and archives it so that you then see at the top the most upcoming event for your daughter. So we like that little feature instead of the list running and trying to figure out which round is my daughter in at this moment. And as you can see, like Laura was showing how things were done in the past to now using modules, that little box on the side that says sports fixtures and bus details, that was our sports fixtures before. It was that connecting to an Excel spreadsheet where then parents would have to either download, print, whatever it was, not dynamic at all, static, that they just printed and then put up on their fridge or somewhere wherever it needed to be. Well, now with sports fixtures, it's dynamic, and it sends out notifications letting people know when there's changes or updates or so on and so forth. So we like that moving to a more dynamic, more real-time situation. And the last thing for us is because we do use Digistorm, the app, because of any changes or any type of fixture results that get put into the sports fixture module, it all gets pushed out to the Digistorm app to us. So as you can see on the left-hand side there, those are the notifications that either a parent or a student will see, saying that you've got an upcoming event, or you're now participating in the event, or if there's been an update to the event. They'll get that in real time on their mobile phone. And they'll also get alerts an hour before the event comes and 24 hours before the event as well. So there's giving enough time for parents or students to kind of be aware of they've got a fixture coming up. I'd like a little tweaking to some of those notifications, but if more of you guys come on board, people power, I say. Let's get some change. And in the app, it all adapts to the screen size within the modules page, the sports module fixtures page for that event. It all adapts to the mobile phone so that you can see, as Laura had shown on a laptop screen, on an actual screen for your mobile phone. It adapts nicely for parents to navigate quickly to figure out where they need to go in the next hour after they got their notification, as they do last minute. Oh, I've got to go somewhere, checking on their mobile phone. So now we'll talk about improvements to the module. I'll let Laura run.
So we got together last week and we went through what we thought would be really valuable improvements. We would really like to, on the dashboard component, to limit the number of fixtures shown. For example, just show me the fixtures for the next 7 days or 2 weeks, and then to get the full list of fixtures, you can go to the team page.
Yes. And that for us would be great because we have the whole terms fixture. If we can just narrow down to the upcoming term, your upcoming fixture for this week would be fantastic. So, yes.
We would like the teams list to perhaps be linked to the synergetic code. This would also help. So at the moment we're double handling.
Yes.
We both are because we need to maintain it in synergetic for us for reporting.
Yes. And then making those changes live in Schoolbox so that it reflects for. Oh, James has got his hands up. Great. I love it, real-time feedback.
Would you do the class code on the team or on the sport or on the division?
The team for us. Yeah.
We.
Have you managing the teams as classes in synergetic?
Yeah, we do it currently, yeah.
Because, one of the ideas we had originally was that the coaches, sports coaches, who were saying how at the moment you send all the students to one place and the coach decides on the day. The idea was that with sports fixtures, the coach could actually go in and update what team they were in week to week. But if you were managing the teams in synergetic, the coach wouldn't be able to do that. Is that a problem?
At the moment, we can't do it anyway. We just have, for example, instead of first, seconds and thirds, we have senior badminton and then, 40 people in that team. And we haven't, because the changes are often very last minute,
Yes.
we can't actually change them from first to seconds in Schoolbox in time anyway. but we would be open to doing that if we could. Yeah, I mean, ideal world we would, but our coaches really aren't on Schoolbox, so it makes it difficult.
Yeah, and same thing as Laura said, some of those team changes are last minute. So that the coach going to Schoolbox and adjusting the team player into the right team, that's just, for them, they're not focused on that. And sometimes some teams, it can be controversial who's in team 1 and who's in group 2. So they want to keep that quiet until game day so that everyone gets their head in the game and they're ready to perform. So we're all about on the team, on the sport, or is it the team, right? Sorry, the class code on the sport, yeah. Instead of managing, yeah.
I think I've got it on the next slide, but if we could have it so that if you were, for instance, playing in first instead of seconds on that day, that you can go and see the first fixtures, because at the moment it's locked down to only if you're the parent or the student of that team. If we could make it open to everyone so you could choose to go and watch your friend's soccer match, that would be awesome. So we'd like the hyperlink to be the whole thing?
Title from the team you're playing against to your team, your home team, or yes, because it gets cut off if you have it on the right-hand side. It just kind of slices it.
Some sort of sorting order, so by positions or alphabetical, and
I'm all about a visual dashboard. With tiles, we've all gone to this new visual, looking and feel of Schoolbox. So right now, as we know, the title's very long, saying you versus that and things like that. I would like to have like a visual icon of that sport we've defined within the system, and that image appears, and you can click on that, and it either goes to the fixture page or your current match that you're playing against. We're open to discussions on that, but I'd like to visualize it. We'll keep it rolling. While we're here, we're just going to keep the improvements going.
Chance to get our agenda on board.
James's attention. I mean, we've got the best audience.
I think that's pretty much it. I think we talked about some of those already. But please go on to help.schoolbox if there's any ideas that you're in favour of that we've talked about, or that you have any great ideas of how you would like sports fixtures to work. Please go in there and add yours and vote other people's up if you agree with them.
And definitely come ask Laura or myself any questions on getting sports fixtures set up, because picking Laura's brain was really great to get me the head start in understanding where I need to go with this. So we're happy to help you guys get started, because the more of you guys are on sports fixtures, the more we can drive those 2 pages of improvements we have.
And we've learned a lot through talking to each other about how our schools are set up and how they run.
Absolutely. That collaboration,
Yeah.
So thank you guys.